Defiant was on my TBR for a long time, and I finally read it. This is the third book out of 5 in the Songs of Chaos by Michael R. Miller, an indie author who's been getting more popular lately, in large part due to this series. This is the series where the first one is based pretty heavily on Aragon by Christopher Paolini, and then veers off from that inspiration into its own story. This one is a middle book, and feels like it. I won't say in a bad way, but it's like in the large overarching story of the series, if you were to just chop out the middle of it, that's kind of what it feels like. You're just thrown in with the story already started, you're expected to know all the characters and everything that's going on, and then when the arc of this book ends, the story's not over yet. You are left hanging, and there's still 2 more to go. So when I say it feels like a middle book, that's not an insult, that's just the way it is. When you get to this one, I think one of the big things that changes from the first book is the expansion, both in characters and overall scope, which is to be expected in a long fantasy series like this. Whereas the first one is pretty small scale, here's the boy, here's the dragon, here's their journey. This one is opening up to a lot more characters and plot threads. So in the first one, I would have definitely said Holt and Ash are the main characters. That's whose story we're following, that's whose perspectives we're seeing from, that boy and that dragon. The second book takes a couple of those characters from the first one, gives them some point of view chapters, and then in this one, I don't know that I would even say that Holt and Ash are the main characters anymore. At the very beginning, we got grounded into this world, everything that's going on here with Holt and Ash. And now they are just a couple of the characters, but it felt like we spent just as much time with Talia and some of the other characters, which I feel like I can't say because I feel like saying which characters we're following is kind of spoilery until you get there. And there's not much crossover between those characters. They cross paths a couple of times, but these separate point of views that we're getting in this one stay pretty separate. They're all following their own paths. I think that probably helped lend to the feeling of middle book. The characters have splintered off and they haven't come together again, which I would expect by the end of the series. At the end of Unbound, Holt and Ash were given a job by the Life Elder. The Life Elder wants them to go find the other dragon elders and try to pull them into the fight. The wise old dragons don't get to just sit on their mountains or wherever they live and observe what's happening in the world. The Life Elder wants the other elders to actually take an active part in what's going on. But first, Holt and Ash have to find them. So in this one, they are on that quest, and of course it doesn't go to plan, doesn't go smoothly. Things happen along the way that they did not plan for. Then you have Talia and Pyra. They have broken tradition themselves and pulled in some other writers to join them. And Talia's real passion, what she is really trying and hoping to do, is to fight the real enemy, the Scourge and Thrall. And she is so frustrated by the different groups of humans, so concerned with fighting each other. That was kind of coming up in the previous book, Unbound, and that idea continues through this one, where Talia's just like, we need to come together and fight the real enemy. Nothing that seems like a problem between all of us is as big as this other problem. And then other people are like, oh no, we can't fight the big threat until we figure out our own stuff first. And then we can fight the big threat on a united front and blah, blah, blah. It also means that Talia and Pyra don't have as much time to work on their bond as Holt and Ash. And then part of the expansion in what we as the readers get to see is the Paragons and the Elders. So before, the Paragons were just like held up as the paragons of writers. These older and more powerful writers, more wise, supposedly. And then the Elders are like these legendary mystical dragons. And between the Elders and the Paragons, these represent the most powerful beings in the world. And we hadn't really gotten to see from their points of view before. And so in this one, we get to see from the point of view of at least a few different Paragons. We don't really see from the point of view of the Elders, but we get to see them and experience their personalities a little more. And that is kind of disillusioning, both for some of the human and dragon rider pair characters, and maybe for us, the people reading it. The legendary figures aren't always as lofty and moral as you might desire for them to be. They're still just humans and dragons. We also get to see a little more about how the way things are in the world right now came to be that way. Get a little more history of the world, and maybe become a little more suspicious of certain things or certain characters. And then a new thing that's introduced, because in this series, the way the magic and the human-dragon bonds work is that they level up. They learn new abilities. They unlock levels, basically. And we, the readers, get to learn about those along with Holt and Ash. So as Holt and Ash rank up, we also learn more along with them. And the new thing that they get to learn in this one has to do with spirit, like a spiritual element to their bond and to how their magic works. And up to now, their advancement, their ranking up, leveling up, has been very much about the human and dragon bond, fighting together, suffering together, growing together. And now, as champions, to progress to the next level, to high champion and beyond, is going to take a lot more spiritual work on each of their parts. So both the dragon and the human have to really not just be honest with themselves and each other, but actively seek out truth, what they really believe, what really matters to them, deep-seated things within their hearts they're going to have to confront and not let any lies or deceit cover how they really feel. And there's one pretty poignant one that Holt has in here. I loved that part. I loved his realization and how that helped his soul grow. And as far as really just feeling like a middle book, it's a long series. There's going to be 5, so 2 more after this one. It's not even the middle of a trilogy. So things can't resolve yet. Just lots of digging deeper into what's already there. There's a lot more failure in this book than you might like to see, but you know that there's a lot more to come. And there is so much frustration from some of these characters for other characters. So much tension and conflict. They all do have a common enemy. They just can't seem to unite against that common enemy yet. And I don't know if by the end they will have come around to it yet. Or through the 4th book, up to the 5th, they are going to become so desperate that they have no other choice but to finally band together against the common enemy. And you kind of get hints that that common enemy, the Scourge, especially with or without Thrall, is going to be harder to deal with than they may have thought before. The Scourge seem very entrenched in the world. Also, the cover has been released for book 4. I don't think there's a release date yet. The first draft is done and Miller is working on consecutive drafts before putting it out to us. The cover looks really intense. There is a lot of blood, and Holt and Ash in this cover looking very competent and fierce. In the cover of book 4 look very defeated, like they have been through so much and they might not be able to make it much longer. And if that 4th one follows the traditional narrative of a long series, it's going to be the worst. For the characters, it's going to be the saddest, where they are brought the lowest before they can start to climb back up in book 5. And I think the cover is really representative of that before even reading it. So book 4 is going to be sad, but I still look forward to getting to it. I'm going to say that I did like book 2 better than this one. Not anything against this one, just that middle book feeling. I'm ready to keep going now. The pacing still felt good. It didn't feel like any scene was wasted. Every scene did something. Still reads like it's meant for a younger audience. Totally fine, as long as you know that's what you're getting into when you start it. I'll put links for these books in my video description. I'll also link my Patreon and my Instagram. Thank you, patrons. I appreciate you guys a lot. And happy reading. Bye.